If you're new here, welcome. And if you're returning, welcome back, civilians, to the home of elevation, growth, and experience. Some of you may know, some of you may not know, I am the civilized woman. Welcome back, civilians. I hope all is well. Y'all, it has been a minute since I've recorded any content. I've been trying to push, but priorities, other stuff going on. I'm sure y'all can understand, but I hope everybody is well. I'm a little somber because I have been, closely watching the Karmelo Anthony and Austin Metcalf case. Y'all know this is the case of the two high schoolers that on April 2nd at a track meet, they unfortunately Karmelo Anthony fatally stabbed Austin Metcalf, and Austin did not make it. And the just everything surrounding this case is very unfortunate. Karmelo Anthony is black, Austin Metcalf is white, so there has been a lot of racial energy that's been brought into this that is just really unfortunate. But here we are, because we have two young people who should be worried about putting in college applications, deciding what they want to do for the summer before they go to college, preparing for high school graduation. And here we have one is deceased and the other is facing jail time. So it's just really unfortunate. So the circumstances surrounding everything that happened with this is just there's a lot of, in my opinion, there's a lot of gaps that need to be filled in. However, I want to give a shout out to my girl, Marlene Uncensored, because she has really been breaking this down to the very bare bones. She has been doing her big one with this. And I'm very grateful because her perspective gives another perspective. The large perspective out there seems to be in favor of Austin Metcalf at the, detriment of Karmelo Anthony. And I do not think that it does us any service to not look at the facts objectively, to not examine the situation and see, okay, objectively speaking, what may have happened here. Just keeping in mind that there's still a lot of unknowns, but just series of events using your common sense, like how things would flow naturally. There's a lot that remains to be seen, and people are wanting to just already put Karmelo Anthony, hang him at the stakes virtually, when there's so much that has not been revealed. So I'm not going to go rehash the whole beginning at this point. I am, because I am at some point going to go back and do smaller chunks. But today I'm here to talk about, on Monday, his bill was reduced. So when he got bail, his bill was $1 million. $1 million, y'all. And based on the police report, self-defense could be at play in this, just based on the statement that they got from Karmelo. So for that bill to be that high for a young man that does not have a criminal history, does not come from a criminal background, this is his first altercation ever. At the age of 14, he actually saved a 10-year-old. So this is not a young man who has a history of, this is somebody who's always, problematic, yielding a weapon. So to have bills set that high is unprecedented, because in that county that this happened in, the highest bill they've done has been over 300. It has been 300,000 max, and that you're predicating upon, okay, the person has to have the criminal history, their flight risk, their background, their record, all of these things go into play as to what the bail should be. So this was really high. So on Monday, they went before the judge, and the judge reduced the bill to $250K, and some people are up in arms about it. But it's very important when we're talking the law don't know or recognize feelings. The law is black and white. The law is very clear what is legal, what is not legal. So first, let's talk about what bail and bonds and what all of that is, why that happens, and why it matters if it is within bounds, in terms of if it is reasonable, if it is fair, if it is just, if it is constitutional, as to what you give bail on, or how you do that. So a bail is considered excessive if it's higher than what's reasonably calculated to ensure the defendant's appearance in court. Bail should be reasonable, not punitive. So in this case, $1 million bail would be considered punitive, because the Eighth Amendment of the Constitution, of the U.S. Constitution, prohibits against excessive bail. So it has to be reasonable, not punitive. It should not serve as a punishment. It should be reasonable enough for you to say, you know what, this person is not, this will ensure that this person show up when they're supposed to show up, that they're not going to flee, they're not going to cause an issue for the public. That's what it should be. The fact that the judge brought it down has caused a lot of issues, and this lady has gotten death threats. She's being called a DI hire because she reduced this bail. The Anthony family is having to have security. The father in the home is the sole breadwinner, and he had to take leave of his job. Now, people have been raising money for both the Metcalf family and the Anthony family, because I don't care how much money you have, unless you are like Bill Gates, rich, that kind of money, you need all the help that you can get. But people are upset about the fact that according to the letter of the law, what the judge did, regardless of her color or whatever, is in bounds. Him getting $1 million bail was out of bounds. That was punitive. Again, this is according to the Eighth Amendment of the Constitution. This is not her just feeling like, this boy could be my son, my nephew, so I don't want him to get in this trouble. This is her saying, according to the letter of the law, this $1 million bail violates the Constitution. So it needs to be reduced within reason as to not be punitive. So that is what this lady has been doxed. So there's a lot going on, and just looking at how things are being portrayed, there is an effort to paint a picture. This Karmelo Anthony, according to the law, is innocent until proven guilty. The court of public opinion, the way things are being put out there, he's already being practically sentenced, and that's very unfortunate. It's very necessary that there is not a rush to judgment. It's very necessary that things are done in decency and in order. It's very necessary that the letter of the law is followed in this case. For me, the one of the biggest thing is, okay, he had a knife with him. In my mind, I'm like, okay, is this an event that would have necessitated that? Do they have like a history of, whenever you go to this track meet over here, there's always some kind of issue, so make sure you carry some kind of protection with you. Had he had issues with being bullied and felt like he needed to protect himself, there had to be a reason. So one of the things I would want to know is the reason why he had the knife with him. If I'm being honest, the knife would not have been a factor if he had not been approached by Austin Metcalf. It was raining that day at this track meet. It is a school day. They're at this track meet. It's early in the morning. It is raining. It is reasonable, whether you know someone or not, it is reasonable that somebody would seek shelter. When this first happened, there was talks about possibly somebody from the opposing team giving Karmelo the permission to go under the tent because it was raining. So if that's the case, then he had rights to be there. Even if that's not the case, it is raining. As a human being with like compassion, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Because Jeffrey Metcalf, which is Austin's father, has expressed that he is a Christian, that their family are Christian. So as believers, you got to be a good Samaritan, right? Unless Karmelo came on there with all this energy, you have like, what was the issue? So the next thing for me would be, why did Austin feel the need to ask Karmelo to move from under the tent? When his brother Hunter did an interview, he said that they didn't know him. These people don't know each other. And they asked him to move, but he said Karmelo didn't say anything to them. They asked him to move. If he's not bothering you, he's not saying anything to you, what does it matter, or what would it hurt if you would just let him sit under the tent till the rain subsides, and then you can go ahead and ask him to leave? Or if you didn't know him, how about bridging the gap and just having a conversation with him? Why didn't you feel the need to remove him from under the tent? And then when he asked you not to touch him, you still went ahead and did so. So that's number two that would need to be assessed. First degree murder is a lot, because that requires premeditation, and these people did not know each other. There's not a history there that would suggest that would be the route to go. Y'all, where were the adults in this situation? Where were the adults? I'm also having trouble believing that this incident was not recorded. In this day and age where people are so quick to whip out their phones, that nobody has this on recording doesn't make sense to me. I also don't know how many people were in those stands. Was it packed? Probably not, because it was 9:00 in the morning, but somebody got this on recording, and the adults got some explaining to do. But again, we're waiting for all the facts to come out in this. It is very unfortunate. I'm going to come back and do a little bit more with this as well. I really debated as to whether or not I even wanted to touch this, which is why I didn't start doing it. This is my first video, because I wasn't sure if I wanted to touch it or not, because people seem to be very sensitive and not just open-minded, but just not willing to really examine the facts and ask questions, and they're already looking to indict. There's also a need to stereotype Karmelo. He does not fit the stereotype that they're trying to put him under. They're trying to, there's been talks that he's a thug, or, he comes from a single parent home. He does not. That his father is in jail. His father is not very present in the home. So all of these extra stuff that's being introduced into this case is problematic. And so it does require more voices to speak on it. And I'm electing to do so. And I'm going to try and do it with respect and with fairness and factual. So y'all tell me what y'all think. Have y'all been following this? What are your thoughts? Until next time. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe.